Welcome to the Real Voices podcast, where we explore the personal journeys of real estate professionals through their own unique challenges and successes. Real Voices is brought to you by Equitable Title and Escrow, providing a better approach to title and escrow through team support and innovative services. Welcome to another great episode. We have another wonderful guest with us. We have Mila Baird. Is it Beard or Baird?
Baird.
Baird. It's nice to bring you on. I appreciate you coming on with us today. So I wanted to bring you on. I had a really long conversation with you a couple before the holidays, and just had a great conversation. So I wanted to bring you on and chat a little bit about you and your business, who you serve, and kind of just a little bit about you. So tell us, how long have you been in the industry, and who's your client? What's your clientele look like?
Hi, Marlo. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. So I came. Do you want a little bit background of me?
Just you and what the industry. What brought you into the industry?
So my background is I'm from Ukraine, and I'm a very proud Ukrainian. And growing up, my parents were building a house. It's our home. They built together. It was my grandfather, my father, and my mom. So, and of course us, my sister and I. So we all were involved in it. And it was cool and fascinating,
Right.
I was paying attention to every nail, being hammered in. And, my mom did a lot of work. It's like literally was built from scratch by these people. Electricity, plumbing, you name it, everything from the foundation to the roof, everything. So, and I was always curious. I'm a little curiosity person. And when I came to US and I started going for open houses, and it just kind of enlightened me, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked seeing houses, and I was looking on the construction part always. Like everyone would look at how the house being staged and how other people live, but I would look for cracks and scratches, and I would look for house plumbing done, house heating done,
Right.
So, and I thought, why not me? I could do that. So in the beginning, though, I went to back to college.
Okay.
Because I came to this country with zero language. So it was a hard start. It's kind of, we call it like a baby. You start like a baby.
Right.
Basically, it doesn't matter which level you came from. You start everything from the beginning, just like building your house.
So let me ask you, how many languages do you speak?
3.
3? Okay. Yeah. Of the 3, which was the hardest?
Well, you growing up learning one language, which is not difficult, of course. It's your born language, pretty much. Second language, which should be the first language, but it was second language. It was my native language, unfortunately. Okay. It was not difficult because my mom actually, she spoke, her first language was my second language.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about that. So your native language isn't the language you grew up speaking, as a kid? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
So my first language was Russian.
Okay.
Because it was Soviet Union. My second language was Ukrainian, and my nationality is Ukrainian.
Right.
So since my mom was living in a village, even though during Soviet Union, she spoke Ukrainian.
Right.
So when she came and she came to the city, big city, where she met my dad, she spoke Russian, but she knew, I guess, Ukrainian. And in school, we did study Ukrainian as well.
Okay.
It was literature, Ukrainian literature, and writing. The same thing with Russian literature and writing. And third language was English.
So how, compared to, I guess, learning Ukrainian compared to English, which one would you consider was harder for you?
Of course, English.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, English, because the writing, the building up sentence is very different. Yeah.
I get that a lot. I'm always talking to my kids. I'm like, you guys are lucky this is the language you have, because otherwise it's a difficult language to try to adapt to.
Yeah.
Speak a little different, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting was how I learned English. It was difficult, but at the same time, I kind of learned it intuitively.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
You know what? I can't even explain it really. It's just when people would say, so how you came to this country with no language, but I could discuss every subject.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how. I guess I understood a little more, but what I was getting is I was grasping on keywords.
Mm-hmm.
That was my, how I would understand it. But the rest of it, like filling in all this, verbs like to be, it was very like out of out of order.
I get what you mean. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was kind of difficult, and when I went back to college, that's where I actually learned language.
Okay.
By being immersed into it. Was again, I like challenges, so I went to economics, business with no language. Business, economics, math, English, of course.
Right.
All this chemistry, biology. So it was really, really hard.
So I'm just trying to get through that. You're immersing yourself in all of this. When you first saw the homes that you were doing open houses for, at that moment you decided to go back to school to become an agent?
No.
Okay.
So it kind of came along.
Okay.
In my life. When I came here, I met my husband, future husband,
Mm-hmm.
and past at this
Okay.
point. Yeah. So, and I always wanted to get, the highest degree, like go to the most prestigious university. It kind of was like I was a bit obsessed, not too obsessed, but it was kind of like my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I came here, of course, no language. How can I get to a prestigious university?
Right.
So it was really hard. Though I was taking on all these classes, I was trying to get all prerequisites because it was very different system. Everything is very different. So at some point I was thinking, you know what, it's not realistic. But I had a family at the same time. I already had my baby girl. So it was hard. I was juggling a lot of things. But when we were going with my at that time husband for open houses, then that's when I was looking. And because all the time, you being an adult and you just trying to figure it out how can you fulfill yourself.
Right.
So, and when we would go for the houses, I mean, it's kind of like something we built, something I know and something that I thought we could do better. Because it was always kind of like hidden. Oh, look at this piece of furniture, and in my mind, I don't care about this piece of furniture, but I do care about that crack in the wall.
Right. So let me talk to you, because we were talking a little bit about that. Your approach to your clients when you're walking them through these homes, and you prefer not to have it staged so you can see what that's like. So how do you get your clients to that point? Because typically they want to see the furniture, right?
Yes.
How do you get them beyond that?
So with the clients, it's all about clients, what the client wants. It's not what I want, what I think is the best or greatest. It's what the client wants. I can offer the client what I can provide and, how can I help. But if the client still, focuses on their own needs, you can't, and you shouldn't, convince client that he's wrong but you are right, because you want the client to be 100% satisfied. Right. What they were looking for and what you've got for them.
Right.
And where they live. So there is no regrets, there is no looking forward what would be if it would be done different way.
Right.
So
makes sense. So right now in your business, what are you finding your biggest challenge to what you see success is?
So right now I see huge challenge is short inventory.
Right.
Unfortunately, when I got into the business, it's the hardest time. It's, short inventory, and there is a lot of, qualified and really good professionals, realtors, salespeople. So they long time in the business. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly how to get the clients. They have some sort of clientele,
Right.
which for me, I'm in a disadvantage. I don't have it. So, but when you don't have inventory to offer on
Right.
top of no clients, it's the hardest part.
Right. Right.
It's not that you can't present that house, you cannot sell it, or you cannot stage it, or you cannot bring the buyer. It's about inventory, basically.
There's not a lot we can do about that, right?
Yes, we just have to wait.
Yeah. Market changes. Understood. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your upbringing. I'm really intrigued by, you living in Ukraine at the time, the Soviet Union at the time. Talk to me a little bit. What were your role models, and who did you look up to, and what did you want to be when you grew up?
So, that's a very interesting question. Growing up during Soviet Union, looking back, actually, I have a lot of respect for that time.
Okay.
It was all about being good, about doing it right, helping each other, looking after each other, being the best friend that you can possibly be, looking for your own mistakes and looking at yourself first, and then, looking how other people take you,
Right.
Right. So I have a lot of good memories from Soviet Union.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned something, and I was intrigued by it. You said something had broke down in the house, and there would just be a notice out in the community, and someone would come by and fix it, right?
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that? What was
Yes.
that like?
So just like I told you, everyone was taught in the family and in school, everyone was taught to look out for each other, So they would tell, literally, the teachers would tell, not just one teacher, all the teachers, if you see a grandma crossing the road, please help her out. If you see a grandpa carrying a grocery bag, please help him out. If your friend is in need of anything, help, like fixing plumbing or something, help. It's all about help. And there is no rewards. The biggest reward that people can get is a meal. And you don't have to do it.
Right.
But because you're grateful, you want to do it.
Right.
And when after work is being done, you sit at the same table with the people who have work done for you, and you have the conversation. You sit at the same table. It's very important to sit at the same table with people, to share the meal. So you kind of show that you do care and you do treat that person the same as you.
Right. Wow. I just thought that was so interesting. Even if, I'm thinking about how can I adopt that, even if I'm still paying this person, maybe still like, hey man, sit and have dinner with us this evening. I believe that too, that you really can soften hearts with a meal, right? So.
Oh yes,
right.
yes. Because during the meal, you feel relaxed. You share things, and maybe that person who came to you to help, he will share here and there, or she, they will share something that you can help out back.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be like you have to pay back with something. It doesn't have to be. But everyone knows because it's brought up the whole culture.
Right.
So there is no one, probably there is some people,
No, I hear you.
We're all people, right?
Yeah.
We're all different.
Yeah.
But in general, yes. And that's how my grandfather was. He would be fixing, he would be, taking care of the stock. He was very famous for
Cool.
for things.
I appreciate you sharing that. It really kind of changed my perspective about how I treat even people who I'm paying, right? I could probably still treat them a little bit better with more respect. So I appreciate you sharing that. I was wanting to think about, this is kind of the American in me. What does everybody think about America, wherever they are, right? So I just kind of wanted to ask about that. As a kid, what did you guys think of America? What was it What did that look like to you?
Okay, so during Soviet Union, we didn't talk much about America. I mean, in schools, at homes, no one would talk about America because it's kind of closed country,
Okay.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, it's closed from the borders, and I can see why, because during Soviet Union the morals were all good.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, it was always going like if let's say you and me decided to make a cartoon and
Mm-hmm.
we're making jokes. If something you said was inappropriate, and it was very very strict what was inappropriate, it will not pass the
Mm-hmm.
I it's censura
Yeah, censorship.
probably.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so you cannot pass it. Movies, I mean, movies at certain time, everything was, it's, the more I think about Soviet Union, I think they were trying to create utopia.
Mm.
I mean, it was far from it,
Right. Right.
but at least they were going.
Mm-hmm.
We would always believe in improve it, get better.
Okay.
We would never compare to something worse. Oh, we're not the worst.
Okay.
We
Makes
would
sense.
we don't look back, don't compare it to something, we just try to improve.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, did you not have a lot of American media influence you?
No,
that way?
we didn't have at all. But what for us, it's unknown. If somebody would go, there is people would go abroad, right?
Right.
And when they would come back, they would tell us stories like, we thought that over there it was utopia. So for
Yeah.
us, it was kind of like cool.
Right. Right.
Everything was cool. And if you see a foreigner and you hear a foreigner, oh my gosh,
Right.
it's so cool. And with our culture to be friendly,
Right.
we want to help out, we want to
Yeah.
it was fun. But what I wanted to say that my English teacher, he would travel to UK,
Okay.
and he would come back and he would tell us all the stories. So for me, it was so fascinating.
Okay.
I wanted to go abroad. It was my dream after, after I met him, and he would say, so it's all positive. I can't say anything. I never heard anything negative.
Okay.
It's kind of was targeted like it's wealthy.
Right.
It's really, really wealthy.
Right.
And actually, we knew, but from whatever perspectives, whoever brought that perspective, that the law works really well in US. And it's really, really oriented to an average person, So when I came to this country, everything was crashed, like all my perspectives,
Right.
they were crashed, sadly.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Because, I wanted to ask you about that when you got here. Like, now that you understand, how it all is, how have you been able to navigate that and still keep positive, being that this the land of the free and opportunity? How have you navigated that?
Well, I don't want to, because I always talk about my culture, and every family we know it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm thinking maybe it's like credit for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of don't, like, jealousy is not part of me.
Right.
I don't jealous. I just focus on what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
what needs to be done, how to get there.
Right.
And I just look for resources and try to do whatever I can. And just, if I'm feeling accomplished, it's a good feeling,
Makes
So
sense.
that's how I navigate. I just, I ask people, I look for some things, I research for things, and basically I learned everything from scratch here in this country by myself. There is, it was very sad to find out that the culture's differences is not as in the most crucial times. It doesn't match. So, like, people
Yeah.
not as friendly and welcoming,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. It's the American way, I guess. We're individuals. That's just kind of the culture. We're individuals, and we do what we do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I hear you. I understand. So I kind of feel the same way in that when you really need something, you really need a community to.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a community. So I appreciate your perspective on that. Thank you. Um, what do you feel like you're most proud of in your life?
Um, I don't know. I'm the most proud of probably my kids
Okay. Why?
because I always wanted kids,
Okay.
and I'm so about my kids. It's literally my whole life is dedicated to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Probably I also kind of analyze things, and I think maybe I am giving them all that I didn't have. I mean, though I lived during Soviet Union, but I lived only certain part, not
Okay.
all of it.
Right.
So it was some good parts of. I mean, I got some good time of Soviet Union, but I was so little, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to enjoy the rest of it. So as soon as the Soviet Union broke, it was a really hard time, really, really hard time. So my conscious lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
it's all like not very positive memories of after Soviet
Right.
Union broke. And the hardest part of it is the economics of it,
Mm-hmm.
economics of it, politics.
Right.
So this is the hardest part, not the people.
Right. Right. So how do you, in understanding that, maybe you lost out on some of the good times in your more conscious life. How do you keep yourself still, I guess, trusting of people and loving, willing to help? What do you,
That's yeah,
what do you
that's
do?
that's my actually I think weakness because I want to trust everybody. That's my first insight.
Right.
And I think I start realizing because it's me, that's how I am,
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I trust people, and then it saddens me a lot and it hurts me a lot when I see otherwise.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, so
We only
yeah.
can do what we are, who we are, right?
Yeah.
That's about all we can.
Yeah. So right now I guess I start like thinking and coming up to an idea. Just take people as they are. I guess that's the best solution in here, and just move on.
Yeah.
Just don't so just don't dedicate your time to those people.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, what do you feel like the most adventurous thing you've ever done in your life?
I'm so adventurous.
Okay. Well,
My whole life is just adventure, huge, massive adventure. Yeah. Um I don't even know where to start, but the biggest, the most fun adventure that I've done, I traveled to Europe.
okay. What talk to me about that. So just you yourself got on and you did the
So it's not just me and myself.
okay.
It was my mom and I
Okay.
went to Europe trip, and we went on train, we went on a ship, we went on a airplane. So it was all. And what was, because I'm so adventurous, and my mom, she's just an excellent camper. She's just the best. She's just the best mom that you can ever have since babies, since childhood. So we got a map, and we were just like, I was, pinpointing, like, that's where we're going. And based on the location and based on how much do we want to see that city, so we were just going. And we saw everything. And we like broke so many pairs of shoes because we walked a lot, but we've seen even more.
That's cool.
So it was the best. It was hard. It was, hard.
Right.
You need to find food, you need to find hotel. And we were on a budget
Right.
because it's expensive
Mm-hmm.
to travel in Europe. But we've seen a lot of countries, a lot of countries, a lot of places, a lot of people. And I am about talking to locals. I'm all about cultures,
Mm-hmm.
people. It's for me, it's not about hotel or someone's backyard, fancy backyard.
Yeah.
It's people. And people absolutely loved talking to me because so we were communicating in English, which was nice. It's common language, business language. And it was for me, I valued the most that people were very honest with me and they could talk to me like to open their hearts, you know?
Right.
I
Right.
felt very privileged in that respect.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I hope to be able to do a trip like that one day too. Just travel and on that budget too. Just doing
Yeah.
that. So that's pretty cool. Let me ask you. You know, as you're traveling and meeting people, where do you? I guess the commonality. Where do you see that at? Where is there a commonality? Is there
Between
in
me and
people in general?
people. Yeah, I see there is values.
Okay.
There is certain values people grew up with, and it's mostly common sense, it's ethics, this good or bad, right or wrong, So this is common. And for me, I'm not sure if it was just me or it was cultural, but people wanted to make for me a meal. I'm a tourist. I'm here for a few days, and they were eager. And some people, I actually traveled not just to Europe. I traveled into islands, and
Right.
people wanted to make this meals, to show they homes, to show their cultures, like to immerse me into real culture. It was very I was very grateful for that. It was very, very special for me that people trusted me and they were proud of their cultures, regardless how poor or rich or whatever it is,
Right. Right.
all levels. And I felt that connection of pride of where you come from.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, as far as careers and jobs, way you've earned money, what's been your most interesting career you think you've had or job you've had?
To be honest with you, I don't know. You asked me in the beginning who I wanted to be, and I didn't get chance
Okay,
to answer
yeah.
because I have a lot to say, right? So I wanted to be a judge.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to be a judge, and
Has that changed?
it has.
Okay.
It has, but I think I would make a good judge
Okay.
because I'm not judging, but I like to figure it out based on facts what who was right, who was wrong, and come to the solution. It's for me, it's not about to punish, maybe not necessarily about punishing, but to find fairness and justice,
I like that.
Yeah.
Judge. I like
Yeah.
it.
But I was working, I started with accounting, though I'm economics major
Okay.
in economics, but I was working as an accountant since, I don't know, maybe 15, 16. Then since 14, I was working in research institute
Okay.
as a technician,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool. We were listening to the in Earth for the it's seismic.
Oh, seismic. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
for earthquakes and things.
Yes. So for us, it was not necessarily earthquakes, but gaps of gas build up.
Mm-hmm.
And because we had mines, coal
Right.
mines, so it was very important for if there is, because when the workers go in to dig into the coal, if there is a pocket, it will explode and
Right.
people will die. And it was happening a lot. So I was studying that and listening. Then it was that career, I think, back in Ukraine, back home. It was that accountant, basically. But when I came here, when I went back to college, I was, again, with my cultural probably background, I was doing well in math. And I wanted to, I observed a lot of people were scared, timid by math. And I felt, I can teach them how not to be. And I can, because it's math is all logic.
Right.
So, you just get the logic and everything will come. So I wanted to do that. So I was doing it for free.
Okay.
And I didn't even think of charging anybody money because it's not my mentality. And my teachers were kind of, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm tutoring people. Do you charge them? I'm like, no, what's that? They said, well, you should become a tutor officially and get paid. And I felt like, why do they want me to be paid? I'm fine. You know what I mean?
Different culture.
Yes, different culture, but I couldn't understand that. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't. It's not because I didn't want to understand. It's just not part of me, right? So then I worked as a tutor, math tutor in college, which was fun. So I think that job, I mean, I don't even consider it as a job, really.
Right.
But that was the most rewarding, I guess, because you teach those students how not to be scared, because this something like math, everything is based on math. Everything. Literally everything. And when you're being scared, it holds you back from your perceiving your goals.
This is true about fear, for sure.
Yes, and I didn't want, and I do not want people to have that fear,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That is a great way to look at that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Who's your ideal client? Like, when you think about your perfect client, what does that person look like to you?
My perfect client is sophisticated, intelligent person who knows what he or she is looking for, and trustful, and honest.
Easy enough, huh? Easy enough.
Easy enough. Well, for me it's easy because for me it's easy, but I guess for some people it can be difficult.
Yeah, I think it's especially on the trust part, just getting people to trust you, right?
Yes.
People tell you anything once they trust you. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I've had a great conversation with you. I appreciate you coming on. I like to kind of leave out with words of encouragement, I guess, or something that you feel like you always are teaching your children, or if I were to ask your children, what is something mom's always speaking on? What would that be like? What would that be?
Know what do you want from your life.
Okay.
Go achieve those goals. Doesn't matter which obstacles you just go to the goals, but always respect other people. Always say truth. If somebody is, you see doesn't work for you, or hurts you or harms you, avoid it. Don't ever cause problems, but avoid, let them know. So I just want them to know that. And I love kindness, be sympathetic and kind. Very important.
Easy enough. Well, appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Where can we find you at? Where can the audience find you?
You can find me via email.
Okay.
And I'm working on my Facebook page.
Okay.
And LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's a good one.
How about a phone number?
Yes. 510-807-2547. Feel free to text me, call me, anything.
Awesome.
I'm here for you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marla.